My dearest Sue, I know that I told you I was done with the Marine Corps. You're 40 years old, you said to me. Well, sure, maybe I am getting old. And I've been through 4 separate wars and a dozen deployments. Hell, you know better than most that the knees don't work like they used to, and I'm kind of rough around the edges. But that night after I told you how I was thinking about redeploying, I sat down and thought real hard about it. For years we talked about how NATO was a waste of time, how the threat of communism had passed and the Western world was blinded by their own failures. But when we woke up in that morning to the news that Russian forces had taken Gotland and Sweden was a threat, well, my eyes for one were wide open. The Marine Corps is a hell of a lot older than I am, and if they've still got fight in them, well, so do I. I love you, Sue. You know I do. But some fights we can't ignore. Semper Fi.
It wouldn't be until April 12th that Captain MacMerrit would get his next taste of the Reds. Task Force Spearhead departed the airfield en route to Kirkby with 22 packs. Avenger was already conducting SEAD with one FA-18 prior to departure. Reaper elements were tasked with controlling south and east of Kirkby, utilizing the construction and office buildings on the southeast side of town. Misfit and Viking were responsible for north, northwest, and the northeast sides of town. The headquarters element would work to ensure the west flank was secured as needed. Within 10 minutes of arriving at the FOB, the Russians flew in multiple helicopters for an air assault. The west side of town was now under attack by at least a company size of infantry. Reaper started to receive small arms fire and armor to the southeast, while Misfit started taking fire from light and heavy armor to the north. HQ would call in steel rain to shore up the western flank from the air assault company while engaging enemies within the FOB. After some intense fighting, the Russians dropped a paratrooper company on top of Kirkby to split the forces up within the town. Reaper was taking heavy casualties on the south side and the lines were intermixing with the enemies. When Reaper called that they were low on AT, HQ put ammo in a truck and started a slow trek towards them to try to refit and rearm them. At this time, casualties were so numerous that a broken arrow was called and multiple kill boxes were set up for Avenger. HQ was able to get a vehicle in to try and evacuate some of the wounded, but they would take contact the whole way back. All elements fell back to the FOB to regroup. The Russians then launched a last-ditch air assault to try and take the FOB. However, this time the Marines were ready and the only squad that made it to the ground was quickly dispatched. It was now April 15th. The successful defense of Kirkby opened up the MSR to allow for the task force's advance on the island. The town of Nexo was chosen as the next point to hit. Submarine pens had been located in the dockyards, and a possible entry point from the sewer system had been identified. In addition to this, a possible high-value target from the Russian Federation known as Nikolai Volkov was believed to be in the town. This made the goal threefold: free the town of Nexo from Russian control and open up the port city to stabilize the economy of the host country. Capture and interrogate Nikolai Volkov. And sabotage and destroy the submarines that are currently docked. The task force would first conduct a synchronized assault on 3 different OPs marked as Hill 114, Hill 91, and Hill 67. Viking would be the first to arrive in the AO, and they used their hand-launched drone for ISR on the target hills. All units were given a timer and started the assault. The attack would be made simultaneously to overwhelm and surprise the enemy. Misfit would suffer 1 casualty, but all units pushed through and met their objectives. HQ would then call for a regroup at Hill 91 to begin the assault on Nexo. Utilizing javelins from Hill 91 and close air support from Avenger, several enemy emplacements would be destroyed prior to the assault. After being stalled, Spearhead 5 committed to the push and sent all units on the assault to their respective sectors. Reaper would be responsible for the northern end of town, and Misfit would be responsible for the southern sector. Upon assaulting the northern side of Nexo, Reaper's main support vehicle was disabled and they were forced to take cover behind rocks located north and near their checkpoint. The infantry would dismount and begin to clear through the town, destroying BTRs and BMPs with light AT as they went. A Misfit vehicle was also disabled during the approach on the southern end of town. Misfit would push through and mask their movements utilizing smoke and micro-terrain to assault the town from the southwest side. A fake manhole cover was located at a street intersection which led to the submarine pens. Reaper and Misfit would converge on the location to provide Viking a clear route in. Misfit and Reaper elements continued to fight for the city and secure their entry to and from the submarine pens. Upon entry, Viking would take immediate contact from Spetsnaz, Wagner Group mercenaries, and Russian regulars. Viking was successful in clearing the pens, destroying the submarines, and evacuating. Nikolai Volkov would be found cowering in fear in the hospital topside. The HVT was secured and all elements returned to base.